Mexico. Same thing with a very famous gang rape down in Texas, more recently, gang rape murder of 2 little girls one summer night, and just a heinous, sickening gang rape. The girls were stomped, beaten, murdered. The men put cords around their necks, pulled as hard as they could on either side. A few days later, the bodies were found had to be identified by their dental cavities. For a decade, this was making news. They get the suspects, they're rounded up, they're very aggressive, they're unrepentant, and it was not until they used the Mexicanness of the lead rapist. That's very weird. Are you going to boo the? What I'm saying is a fact. The fact that he was a Mexican national, not an American citizen, was used to overturn his death sentence. That is the first time the mainstream media so much put the word Mexican within 1,000,000 miles after all of this mainstream media coverage. That is a lot of what my book is about, which is why I read like Forensic Files and Law and Order. It is shocking crime after shocking crime, and yes, we are importing primitive cultures in enormous numbers, not just from Mexico, from the Middle East. Well, I did not know we had a crowd that was so fond of clitorectomies and honor killings and child rape. But apparently we do. Americans aren't used to these sorts of crimes, and we're not really prepared. I'm not sure we have the manpower to deal with it.
But when it's Mexicans, they are primitive.
Criminals. I'd love to deport our native criminals. We have no choice. There's no reason for us to be bringing in other countries' criminals, in addition to the fact that, yes, child rape, honor killings, clitorectomies, haven't seen a lot of that in Anglo-America. It is primitive cultures, and I guess we also know that this is an audience that does support clitorectomies, honor killings, and child rape.
No, and we don't describe it to so-called primitive cultures coming from a certain ethnicity like you do.
We don't have this ethnic thing.
I guess you're not getting it.
I must have to defend Jeffrey Dahmer because he's white, don't punish him. But gosh, a lot of people are upset when I talk about Mexican child rapists and Muslims honor killing and Muslims clitorectomies. Oh, no, we must defend them. White people don't do that.
Hold on, and apparently you're not getting it. So let me be a little clearer.
I mean, maybe you guys don't read, but with these unaccompanied children, we've had, hundreds of these centers being reported they've never seen a flush toilet before. It is simply a fact. We are bringing in peasant cultures. It is simply a fact what kind of culture does have a clitorectomy? What kind? Yes, primitive cultures. The reason, I'm not saying it is brown people who are peasant cultures, I'm saying we are bringing in peasant cultures from around the world. Latin America, Mexico happens to be the peasant culture that's closest to us. And why are we bringing in peasant cultures? To help. The Democrats want the votes, and the rich want the cheap labor and the cheap maids, and you people are cheering on the plutocrats with their cheap maids driving down the wages of Americans. I just don't see why we can't care about Americans first.
As she repeats over and over again, about a dozen times so far, you people come from a peasant culture. When you're your peasant maids and all the things.
I didn't say that.
You didn't say peasant culture? Is that right? Some people have their iPhones out.
I didn't say you people come from a
Oh, she didn't say you people. She didn't say you people. She said you peasants.
If it's the same, if you're like paraphrasing accurately, if it's the same, just use my words.
Okay. Believe me, your words are now all over the internet.
No, it's not.
So now, if you haven't noticed, the Republican Party is 99% bought and sold by billionaires and corporations.
Not Donald